From the top of the town at 715 Main Street in historic Deadwood, it's time for another episode of the DTC Blow and Smoke Podcast.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the DTC Blow and Smoke Podcast, episode number 43. Joining me today, as always, behind the board, mixing and mastering, are the preacher, Ethan. Hello.
Hello.
And back by popular demand with many more words, the boss of the shop, Mr. Jason Grimes.
Hello, everybody.
Family.
Family.
And wouldn't be complete without our leader, Mr. Wild Bill.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Happy holidays.
Yes, indeed. Coming up on this podcast, it is going to be the third of our three-part series. We kicked it off a little while back with John Huber from Crown Heads. And then just a few weeks ago, we had Christian Arroyo from Arroyo, CLE, and Asylum 13. Nick Melillo from Foundation will be joining us in just a few minutes. But first, we're going to start where we always do, with What Are We Smoking? And Bill, you're up first. What are you smoking today?
Omac Claro. Nice, mild, medium body smoke across my palate today.
Very nice. Ethan, what do you got?
I have got the Tabernacle CT.
CT. Very nice.
That's
Big
Connecticut.
Connecticut. Full-bodied stick, correct?
Yes.
Yep. And Grimes?
I'm smoking the Tabernacle Havana Seed 142.
And I went with the Wise Man, not the Walwense. There are two cigars in this line, the Walwense and the Wise Man. Just wanted to make sure
You had to say that.
that you know I did research and had to have the little Spanish lady in my computer say it about 20 times before Walwense. It's not El Guguinese. It's Walwense. If you want more details, it dates back to the 1600s. It is a shaman in a comical and politically charged melodrama skit acted out by natives in Nicaragua. I'm not making that up. Wednesday is the wise man. So there you go. I'm sure Nick will fill us in more on that. Before we get to Nick, we want to talk a little bit about what's going on here at the shop. Lately, we are in... Not our least favorite, or our least favorite month just wrapped up, actually. Bill, what's it called?
No sale November.
Yep. No
Welcome
money
to
November.
Deadwood.
Which gives us a chance to do some other stuff, right, Grimes?
Yeah, a bunch of projects.
What did we work on recently? How's the shop changed?
I built some shelves for behind the bar, so it looks out pretty now. Put some nice, well, Ethan actually put the rope lights up.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And just normal house.
And we started
House
a wall
rules.
for pictures.
Well, yeah. And yeah.
And the wall that is by the stage is going to be full of some pictures that a lot of our regulars have been asking for, stuff that was up at the old shop that, we just got too busy in the move, and then it was busy season, and now we're going to get those up featuring, I'm sure, some regular customers who still come to the shop.
Absolutely.
So that'll be all nice. We're going to get them all reframed, clean them up, and have those on display here relatively soon. And we got a brand new beer, Grimes. You want to tell us what we have on tap?
Yes, we have Shiner Black Lager on tap, finally.
This is something that we've been asking for a long time. It is actually Shiner Maxwell's favorite beer in the Shiner line. So that is on tap as we speak. Make sure you stop in and grab yourself a delicious Shiner Black.
The first time it's been in kegs.
Very first time. Yep, the Shiner Brewery was going to keep it down in Texas, and Maxwell went down there and demanded that they send it to Deadwood Tobacco Company. And we're very, very happy that he did. We've also got some great stuff in the soft goods merch area for the holiday season. We have our flannels. Did anyone wear one today? Of course not. Nope. They're beautiful flannels. We've got a red and blue one, and we've got a gray and black one. They have eyeglass cleaner, like a certain brand that you know and love. They have a pocket logo, like another brand you know and love. And if you look at the buttons, they are each individually engraved Deadwood Tobacco Company. So make sure you check those out as well. And when this comes out, we got 10 days left on a special, box special. What's that about, Grimes?
That will be a 13% off. It's the Tanner special.
And we'll throw in the swag too, right?
Correct.
That's not bad.
That's going to run through December 15th, so make sure you stop in the shop, grab yourself a full box. Also available online, deadwoodtobacco.com. You will get that 13% savings as well. Just go to our Instagram if you want to pull that code off of there. That's Deadwood Tobacco. Also the same as our Facebook. And so, yeah, that's just about it for what's happening in the shop. Any new exciting announcements from you, Bill?
Yeah, we're going to have an awesome New Year's Eve party here at DTC.
The ball is going to drop right across the street at the Franklin Hotel. We'll have some live music, and we're going to do a little champagne toast for the folks.
Absolutely.
That was very, very, very affirmative. You can also check out the entire live music schedule through the end of January, deadwoodtobacco.com, or up on our Facebook or Instagram as well. Grimes, anything else for you?
I don't think so.
You're gonna hold all of your questions until Nick comes on?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
I'm a man of no words, really.
You know what we should do? I just thought about that because you got 3 bald guys sitting up here. At some point, we need to all shave our heads, and we need to have the viewers and the listeners vote on the sexiest bald head.
Dude, you're fucked. I got scars, and chicks dig scars.
I thought chicks dug the long ball, but we'll take that too.
They might, but they dig scars too, I heard.
That's about all we've got going on at the shop at Deadwood Tobacco. Check out the music schedule. Check out the sales. We're looking forward to the holiday season with all of you. We're going to be right back with Nick Melillo from Foundation Cigars right after this, A Quick Smoke With. And now it's time for another Quick Smoke With Team Edition. Joining me today is Consuela, or Diana. Welcome.
Welcome.
What's your other nickname?
Shipping biatch.
How did you come up with that?
Tony did.
Oh, very good. We can blame Stashless for
Yes.
that.
Yes.
All right, so you've had the questions for a little while now. Are you ready?
Yes.
Number 1, from our humidor right now, as we are recording this, you can have one last smoke, and that's it. Which one are you going to choose and why?
None.
Why?
I don't smoke cigars.
Wait. You are the shipping bitch for Deadwood Tobacco Company, the largest humidor in the state of South Dakota, and you don't smoke cigars.
Correct.
What's the last cigar you tried to smoke?
Oh, a
Kanohu? Nope, that's a Tatuaje.
No, those new ones that we just got.
Oh, the new aromatic cigars.
Yeah, vanilla. And I tried that.
And what'd you think?
Well, I couldn't do it.
Ringing endorsement for the brand new Kojimar Vanilla. Make sure you stop in. 3 different sizes available.
It's not like you don't smoke.
No, I smoke American Spirits.
Well, those are allowed here at Deadwood
Yes.
Tobacco because that is natural tobacco according to the state of South Dakota.
Yes.
All right. Number 2, what is your dream cigar? Maybe something you have seen in a magazine or heard somebody talking about or you can't find. What's your dream cigar and why?
I don't have any.
This
I know I'm kind of boring.
This is going fantastic.
I know. I have no idea.
So what you're saying is that if you are dreaming of a smoky treat, you're actually thinking of an American Spirit.
Yes.
Holy cow.
And what color pack do you go with?
The yellow.
The yellow. Very good. American Spirit's going to love you. All right. I don't know what we're going to get out of this one. If you could have a cigar with any person, dead or alive, who would you choose and why?
Probably my grandfather. He's deceased. He died when I was like 6, so I didn't really get to know him. Just probably ask him how his war time was or whatever.
But you would actually have a cigar, not an American Spirit.
No, well, probably Americans. He could have a cigar, and then I would have American Spirit with it. Jack and Coke.
You know, that works just fine. See, it's pretty painless, right?
Yeah.
There it was, a quick smoke with Team Edition, the shipping biatch, Consuela. And welcome back. It is now the moment you've been waiting for. Part 3 of our 3-part series featuring heavy hitters of the premium cigar industry. We started this whole thing off about a month and a half ago with Mr. John Huber from Crown Heads, and just a couple of weeks ago, Christian Arroyo from CLE Arroyo and Asylum 13. And now, batting cleanup, we're very, very happy to have from Foundation Cigars, Mr. Nick Melillo. Nick, how are you doing today?
Well, guys, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. Been looking forward to this.
We saved the best for last, as they say.
I'm honored. I'm honored. They say the last shall be first and the first shall be last. Something like that.
Fair enough. We'll take it. How are things in Connecticut? You at the shop right now? At the farm?
Yeah, I'm at our offices here in the Connecticut River Valley. Doing well, just keeping busy. You know, the year ends, but as you know, you're gearing up for the next year, so it doesn't stop. So we're in 2024 planning and tightening everything up, and yeah.
Speaking about having to plan everything, how difficult was it to replan an earlier trade show and still have quality materials to show in such a short period of time from the last trade show?
You know, it's a challenge, but we kind of had a heads up, early on. I'm excited for it, Bill, because I finally get to have a summer. You know, we put a lot into our trade show booth. We do a lot. You know, it's big for me, the PCA, because I launched at the PCA in July 2015, and it's the only time where we have the majority of our customers in one place. You know, that is the challenge, I find, is managing Nicaragua, making sure everything's on point, and then getting out to seeing people. So the PCA enables you to see a lot of people. So I put a lot of money into the show and really showing, retailers where we're at as a company. And so we're using the booth that we used last year. We always try to change up the artwork, of course. So we have the basic structure of the booth. We went back to a full booth size this past show. As you know, during PCA, things were kind of wacky and the show was kind of up in the air a bit.
Yep.
So we finally went back to our full booth size last year. So we'll do that. And we've just launched new products, just this past month.
Yep.
So we'll focus on those moving into the March trade show. And I'm just really trying to catch up on inventory, Bill. Olmec's been a huge success for us. It's been one of these brands that have been kind of lightning in a bottle. So even with their projections that we had this year, they well outseeded, what we projected. So we're just trying to catch up on inventory, and we're going full steam right until Christmas. So we have enough inventory to ship when the show hits in March. What do you think, Bill? I'm curious just to ask you, because it's at the end of March. Is that better for you as a retailer? Is it
two things? One, February sucks.
Yeah.
So you're coming into a trade show with a shitty month. All right. So you gotta watch your buying power. But at the same time, March helps me out, because if I manage what I buy, then I can have a decent summer, which then manufacturers are going to want everything shipped out at once. So how good is the trade show deal going to be for March and April? And then you're out of the product in May, and you haven't hit the stride yet. So it's going to be one of those things you got to work on and see into the future, and hope you can order the right stuff and have it come in. Maybe you take one deal, and maybe the manufacturer lets you have a second deal in April, where they run a summertime special.
We generally work together depending on the order. If it's a larger order, to not ship everything all at once and just sort of space out the shipments.
Yeah, that's...
if someone's that organized, so that's something we try to work on, because it does make sense. It's tough because it's the end of the quarter.
Yep.
It's literally the last week in March, which is the end of the first quarter, which is unfortunate sometimes, because then I feel like people hold off from buying for January and February. because they're waiting, of course, for the show to come. But yeah, like you said, you're able to then hopefully purchase for your better months into the spring, summer, and then fall time. Because right now it's just smack dab in July. That's that's just right in the middle of kind of the high season. So it's
right. And for tourist trapped cigar stores like mine, you can only hit it when the stores have the tourism. Now, wintertime, we have wintertime traffic if it snows, but it hasn't snowed yet, so you're not getting snowmobilers and skiers, which they're going to come at some point. Right. But if I can order appropriately and manage that over a period of 3 months, then I can have a stronger year by the trade show being in the beginning.
Agreed.
So, yeah. What's up, Randy?
Very good. I'm just waiting for you guys to figure out what's going on. We'll just slide that a little bit later in the podcast. We've got Grimes with us here, and we've been doing a deep dive because, as we referenced earlier, it is No Money November in the town of Deadwood. So we were able to do a little research. And Jason, what's the most fascinating thing you found out about Nick during your research the last couple of days?
Well, I would have to say probably when you were in Italy and when you met. I can't remember the name of the actual pipes. You said you walked in.
Yeah, Massimo Musica.
Yeah, that's it.
Sure, that one.
It is that one. I was literally just watching the video about it and doing the research on it, and how your friend from Italy started the foundation. I can't remember the exact name of it again. I'm sorry.
Foundation by Massimo Musica.
That's it. That is it.
Yeah.
So, I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, so it was year 2000. I had just graduated school, and I moved to Rome, and I walk in this pipe shop right by the Trevi Fountain. Literally, if you're facing the Trevi Fountain, 2 doors behind you was a pipe shop, but they didn't have any signage in the entranceway. It was just this beautiful display window with elegant, pipes, of course, Briar pipes, but it had canes, and it was a really high-end shop. And I had interestingly enough, a Haile Selassie T-shirt on, a Rasta T-shirt on, and I walked into the shop, and this guy comes out, and he noticed my T-shirt, and he's like, "Hey, Rasta man, what's going on?" And he said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm here. I'm working in Rome, but I worked at a cigar shop, and we had quite the selection of Briar pipes." And he said, "Oh, yeah, what pipes do you carry?" I said, "Petersons, Savinellis, Nordings, Becker and Musico." And he stops and goes, "I am Massimo Musico." And I go, "What?" I was totally confused. I said, "What are you talking?" He said, "I'm Massimo Musico. You're in Becker and Musico pipe shop." and I said, "That's crazy, man. I literally just sold one of your pipes like 2 weeks ago." And that was the beginning of a really special relationship. I spent almost every day in that store from that point in, and it was in such a high tourist area, Trevi Fountain, of course, but the people that were the everyday people in that store were the local politicians, the businessmen of Rome, and they had this nice little, area to chill out, and they had a house pipe blend, and man, I used to hang out with Massimo in his factory. The factory, it was a workshop, more of a workshop than a factory, where he would make the pipes. And we used to go in there on Sundays and smoke spliffs and listen to soccer and work on Briar pipes. And so that relationship, I've actually reconnected with Massimo. We kind of fell out of touch there for a couple of years. And he started a pipe brand called Foundation by Massimo Musico.
Cool.
And I was, of course, trademarking names when you start trademarking in our industry is insane, as you guys know. Yep. So, Foundation wasn't registered. So I said, "Massimo, listen, you got to get this registered. I'm starting a cigar company. What do you think if I use the name?" And Massimo said, "You are the cigar maker. I am the pipe maker.
Heck yeah.
It would be an honor for you to make." So he's been so supportive, and they just had their it was their 60th anniversary, and they were repping Foundation Cigars, and he's just been such a close friend and a supporter of what I'm doing. It's it wouldn't really be without him.
That's awesome.
I'm hoping someday we could do a pipe together. He's one of these real craftsmen. I say, Master, but where's your website? You'd be in the shop. He goes, what are you talking about? This is my website. And I'm again, confusing me.
Not a
he
clay
said, the
pipe.
store is my website.
Not a clay pipe.
No.
Right? Okay.
No. He really
He's an
doesn't
artisan.
export to this. He really is
That's awesome.
to the highest degree. And he doesn't even really export to the States. He stopped exporting in the early 2000s because he's just really focused on the Italian market, and he has enough business, just in Italy and Europe for what he's doing. But his whole, his father, I call him the yogi of pipes, just an incredible, but he's totally under the radar. Not many people kind of know about him because he's always stayed real local, in Italy.
Well, not after this podcast. Our 379 subscribers are going to set him over the top.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk to him as much about him as much as possible, because I'm hoping to meet up with him at some point in the spring or the summer. And hopefully I can convince him to do some maybe special, pipes for the U.S. market, but we'll see.
Nice.
That'd be cool.
And it seems that just doing a little bit of reading up on you, there's been a few instances in your life, correct me if I'm wrong, where it has been like kismet or karma, where you've just been in the right place at the right time. Tell us a little bit about how you got into tobacco and then your time with your first tobacco gig.
That is a good explanation of it. And it's just sort of things have just sort of happened. I started 18, worked in a cigar shop called the Calabash Shop in Connecticut. And by 18, my father bought me a Diamond Crown humidor for my high school graduation. And, Opus X had just come out the year before. I was big into, Patron 3000s. At that time, Macanudo was still being made in Kingston, Jamaica.
Yeah.
So Hyde Parks were no cellophane. Connecticut Shade from the Valley being made in Kingston. So just around the same time, you graduate from high school, you're in the school system all your life, and then all of a sudden it ends. And that summer was a time of deep reflection, just like, what is this all about? Just in general, just life in general. And then I started, this is weird because this is at the point where I started getting into Ethiopia and history of Ethiopia. It kind of correlates with my love for cigars. But anybody that knows me is like this straight, why is this guy so big on Ethiopian history? I grew up in the 80s and all I knew about Ethiopia was starvation. This was what the image that I had sealed in my mind. We are the world, Live Aid. They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Live Aid is kind of the example of that, because they were trying to do so much good, but they branded this country, really badly. And then the money just kind of went all to the communists and whatnot. It was a total disaster. But anyways, I started learning that this history goes back 3,000 years, and it really interconnects all of humanity. It doesn't matter if you go religious texts or if you go scientific. So I had a couple of random things that happened, and it happened working the cigar store where, some guy came in with a National Geographic and it was talking about the first bones being in Ethiopia. And then I was reading the Bible in English class, not as a religious text, but as literature. And the first books of the Bible describe the Garden of Eden and Ethiopia. So I said, why is science saying this? And then you have a religious thing. So that just opened this kind of door into a wider, just seeing the world as interconnected instead of not, divided. And then this just seeing this and becoming aware of it then just opened me up to all of these so-called random experiences. And things just started really happening in my life. And it just started meeting, especially in the cigar store. I mean, that was being 18 and meeting all of these different people from all walks of life. I looked like I was 12 when I was 18. So the guys would come in and they're like, who is this kid? And what the hell does he know about cigars? But slowly I built their trust. And, the cigar store becomes almost like the podcast, almost like,
sure,
you get to meet people, learn about them, have conversations. And that was just the beginning. And all I knew at that time is I had to get the hell out of Connecticut. I was going to go to school. I was working the cigar shop. I wasn't into like the whole college party scene at the time because I just wanted to travel. So I was just saving up, and drinking's expensive. So I was just saving all that. I was saving all that drinking money, just with the hopes. That's all I knew at the time is I love cigars. I want to travel. I want to get out of here when I graduate. And I don't know if I'm answering your question, but
yes, you are. Which leads perfectly to another one I had down the list. A couple of years back, before I was on the team here at DTC, I was a regular down at the old shop, and I was still smoking sweet shit.
I know what's coming.
I was smoking some horrible. I mean, they're wonderful cigars, but they're not for me anymore. But they're for a lot of people. Sitting there bullshitting with Bill. I don't know if Grimes was in the shop at the time, and his phone rings. He goes, "Oh, I got to take this." And I was looking at, they've been trying to train me and get me into some traditional tobaccos, and they're talking about, well, we have Nick from Foundation is coming to the store. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. He's got some great stuff for you. And then Bill gets off the phone call, and I didn't know Bill all that way, maybe like 6 months or something. And he goes, "Oh," and I knew about his reputation that if you cancel on an event, you got hell to pay. And then he's like, "Nick's not coming." And I think he was talking to Grimes at the time, or maybe Pierce or somebody. He's like, "Nick's not coming." Or Preacher was there for sure. And I was like, "What do you mean he's not coming? I was going to smoke these delicious cigars." And then you guys had a conversation. You want to fill in the rest of that gap? Because Ethiopia is heavily featured.
Bill, I talk about you. I talk about you very often, man. And I'm forever indebted to you because that was a tough phone call. And the fact that Bill listened to me before, I even really started. And then I told him why. I was invited by the grandson of Haile Selassie, who's on the Tabernacle box. He's the prince in exile. And he invited me on a delegation to Ethiopia. It was the first time they were recognizing his grandfather since 1974. Wow. So it was this historic trip. And he invited me as the only non-Ethiopian on the delegation. And I explained this to Bill, and without hesitation, I just remember, I can hear your voice, Bill, right now. "You got to go. You got to go." That's all you said. "You got to go." Well, you got to go. And I can't tell you the relief, because I'm like, "Oh shit, Bill's gonna fucking kill me." Can we swear on this podcast?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Bill, and you know what? I mean, I thought you were gonna want to kill me. And I had one other event at the time, and I thought that gentleman was going to go easy on me, and it ended up being the complete opposite. But the fact that you understood it, like for me, this would be like, having a child born, or, an event of that. As I said, 1996, my love for this history and culture, and cigars have brought me all these years to making this connection. The Ethiopian Crown Council connected with me in 2020, February. It was the leap day, February 29th. This was like weeks before everything shut down because of COVID. I get an invitation to a dinner, and I didn't know how I got the invitation. And I showed up to the dinner, and I asked the woman organizing, "How the hell did I get here?" Someone had seen from the Crown Council a box of our Menelik and Tabernacle at a cigar store near D.C. And they just loved it. And the owner of the shop said, "You have to talk to Nicholas because he really loves everything about, Ethiopia." And that's how I got the invitation. And that was since 1996, what is this, like 25 years of just being passionate about, just being a geek about this history and culture. And it came to, this kind of special moment where I'm invited, to the Prince's event. And then I was able, over COVID, I sat at the table at this dinner, and I didn't realize it at the time, but they were friends of Prince Ermias, which is his name, Prince Ermias. And over COVID, because everything shut down, I was on Zoom, and one was a professor of antiquities at Fairfield. The other one was like a goldsmith. His father was a goldsmith to the emperor. So we were having these Zooms, and I think they went back to Prince Ermias and was just like, I think this guy just really loves Ethiopia. And then I got to meet Prince Ermias, and we ended up having dinner one night with a bunch of people, and he ended up saying, let's go outside and have a cigar. And we smoked a cigar together. And we just connected on so many levels. And then the relationship just built and built until he invited me on these delegations, which was, for me, an honor of my lifetime. So the fact that Bill was just so cool, and he understood it. I owe you, Bill. I owe you. And I'm forever indebted that you were just super cool for that, and that you understood it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a perfect lead-in to Ethan. Perhaps you could field this one. What do you suppose Nick feels that he owes us?
Gosh, I mean, I would hate to insert myself into a conversation that's not directly a part of me.
We'll start it off this way. In the last a few years, I've noticed that you have gotten quite a bit of notoriety in the genre of podcasts and stand-up comedy. Are you a fan of both? Was this organic, or how did you come to getting shout outs on Joe Rogan and checking out Bill Burr at Red Rocks and stuff like that?
So the devil came to me, and I just sold my soul to the devil. And so you're talking about being in debt. No, it happened. Yeah, crazy. I'm still kind of in awe by the whole thing. I've been a huge Rogan fan for, I want to say, around 2013. He had an author Graham Hancock, who was an author that I read. Actually, somebody had brought me the book in Nicaragua in like 2004. Mm-hmm. It's called Fingerprints of the Gods. And then he wrote his first book about, it's called The Sign and the Seal, which was about the Ethiopians possessing the Ark of the Covenant. Because they claim to possess the real Ark of the Covenant. It's like Indiana Jones. So anyway, this author was on there. So that kind of first turned me on to Rogan. And then when I was starting the company, he's always in the background. And then I noticed, around 2020, he was smoking cigars here and there. Mm-hmm. And then a buddy of mine knew how much I loved listening to Rogan. And he's in that whole LA Hollywood scene.
Sure.
And he said, make a couple of special boxes, and I'm going to get these boxes to Rogan. And, everybody's tried.
Sure. Yep.
I tried years ago. Everybody. And I said, how are you going to do that? He said, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. So I made my art director, Alex Garcia, who's integral to Foundation. I talked to him. I said, we got to do some hand painted boxes. We just did some Wise Man hand painted. I said, let's make Joe like a Nicaraguan shaman. Let's do something. We want to do something Nicaraguan. So I get these boxes to my buddy, and it's just months are going by, and he's just getting pissed. My guy's not coming through. Da, 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 da. I said, man, don't worry about it. Just don't force it. And then Joe announces he's moving to Texas. And my buddy's like, oh, this guy is not coming through. I said, listen, man, don't get him the box, because the last thing you want when you're moving is another freaking box.
Sure.
So don't do it. So then it came to like September 2020, and we met randomly, another friend of Joe's who happened to be going to Joe's, to Texas to see Joe that very weekend.
Oh.
And he brought him the boxes.
Nice.
Cool.
And then I don't hear anything for like 2 months because I'm not like the guy that's pounding it. Did you get in the boxes? Did you get it? You know, I'm trying to play it cool and really not. So I don't say anything. And then it's like 2 months later and I'm sitting there working on spreadsheets and I got the podcast in the background and all of a sudden I see the corner of an ashtray and it's behind water bottles and I see like the corner of this, with the little gold. I go, holy shit, that's the Foundation ashtray. That's the ashtray. So I go back to every episode, and I tracked it down to September 11th, 2020.
Perfect.
Literally.
Yeah.
If you go to September 11th, 2020, that's the first time the ashtray appears. And then it was election. It was like election month in November. So that was September. He had gotten the package. Then November, I see the box in the podcast, hand-painted, sitting next to him for one of the election. He did a special election podcast. And then he did a whole shout-out, like the first shout-out. He holds up the box and says he gets this. And that was the beginning. Not too long after that, he slid into my DMs on Instagram and was like, Nick, thanks so much for the cigars. They're amazing. I think I need a humidor to store. I had a humidor ready to go.
Of course you did.
I had Eli Blue do a special with his logo in the top, wood inlaid, and then we put in like silver in the front, a gift from Foundation. And then, it's been crazy, man. He's never asked me for a thing. Of course, I've kept a pipeline, well established. And then I said I have to make him, a cigar. There's nothing more, exciting for him to promote his own cigar. So I made him his own stick, and he's just been, last week he gave us a crazy shout. It's been like just insanity.
It is. Yeah, we watched a few. We're sitting there and he offers them to Bert Kreischer and Tom Papa. And it's like anybody he knows that smokes, he's like, hey, this is great. My boy Nick, this is the shit. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Best marketing money you never spent.
It's crazy. And again, it's out of just more passion, you know what I mean?
Right.
For it. It's less of like, okay, strategic, even though, of course, you can't beat that for marketing. But it's been, just because I love Joe so much and what he does. And, it's just been insane. Totally insane. So I got to hang out with him last year for the first time.
Oh, very cool.
Which was totally cool. It was after a show. I just stopped in because I was at a wedding and then had a couple days, flew into Austin. And,
you didn't smoke anything else but cigars?
No, just cigars, man.
Yeah. I understand. Because he doesn't do that other stuff.
I think there's different natural substances going around here and there. But it's great to see him get into cigar. I'm hoping he continues to get into cigars. I've tried to we talk very briefly sometimes on Instagram. He has a good breakdown of the understanding of Cubans and now Nicaraguans, Dominicans, and the quality and what's coming out of these countries. So it's not just this, Cuban kind of flair of just everything Cuban. And I think it's great, because I'm always trying to kind of diversify into those not normal paths to try to bring on new smokers to our industry, because Lord knows we need cigar smokers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, do you have anything else, Grimes, that you were thinking of? You look like you were going to talk.
No, I'm good.
Grimes is a man of
Family.
very, very few words. Bill, did you have more questions? I got a few more, but
go for it, man. What you got on that list?
Well, I was going to talk about. So we were doing a little bit of research, going through the stuff. We'll deal with the new stuff coming out. We talked about PCA moving up into the first quarter and that type of thing. We'll all get to that, but we both Grimes and I are fascinated by the Night Commander. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Also fascinated the fact that we can't find it.
Well, we can get you guys some Night Commanders.
There we go.
Yeah.
I would hate to be so forward as to ask, but
So it's crazy. The Ethiopian Crown Council ended up knighting me last year. So since we
Sorry,
started
sir.
our relationship, I've worked on a lot of trying to help with different charity organizations. Helping. His grandfather was really focused on education. That was a huge. He was actually known as the king of education, which is interesting because he built most of the universities in Ethiopia, and then the communists ended up infiltrating the universities, which led to kind of his overthrow, which is interesting. That's not to get into politics, but the Knight Commander, I was knighted with the Ethiopian Star of Honor in the rank of Knight Commander, which is again very humbling. To receive such an award. It started in the late 1800s. So I wanted to do something in honor of that. And I also wanted to, everything from our end, from the sale of Knight Commander is going directly, 100% of the profits are going right into a charity called the Royal Ethiopian Trust, which it hasn't been announced yet, but I'm actually working on with Prince Ermias to launch this new trust, and there's going to be different pillars, but the main pillars are going to be education, scholarships, and focusing on entrepreneurship.
Very nice.
So 100% of the profits of all the sales for those, we're doing it as a yearly release every November. So we're doing about 700 boxes, and then again, all those proceeds will go directly into the charity. So that symbol on the band is the actual Star of Ethiopia that I was awarded.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Do you have does it come with a medal or a shield?
I wish. It comes with a spiritual shield.
Very nice. Yeah. I was about to say you can
yes.
wear that the next time you hang out with Joe Rogan. You're like, hey, I got this.
Yeah. I have to send Joe some of those. Because I think when he sees this whole Ethiopia connection, I don't know if he got it. But when we were hanging out, a buddy of his, I was talking to him, and I was actually wearing a Tabernacle shirt. Shane Gillis, I don't know, he's another comedian. Sure. He's hilarious. If you don't know him, he's unbelievable. So I'm wearing the shirt, and we're kind of hanging out in the green room, and he goes, so what do you got going on there? On the shirt. I go, oh, this is Haile Selassie. He goes, Haile Selassie? You mean from Ethiopia? Like World War II Haile Selassie? And I'm like, yeah. And he was a huge World War II buff. So he knew all this stuff about Haile Selassie. So it kind of opened this discussion. And then I had just come back from the delegation from Ethiopia. So I start showing him some pictures. And he starts going, Rogan, have you seen this shit? This is crazy. Is this guy making this up? Like, look at, is this crazy? And Rogan's like, yeah, I know. I've seen his Instagram. And I think they all think I'm like a spy or something like that, essentially. I know they thought that in Ethiopia. I think they all thought I was CIA because I was the only non-Ethiopian there. But
it's a pretty deep cover.
I don't even. Yeah, it's deep cover.
Two decades in the making. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have good minerals
so I don't
there.
even remember the initial question, but I hope I answered. The Knight Commander? Yeah.
Yeah. It just looks like, because typically our tastes outside of stash at the shop run towards the more full body meat-eat cigars. And of course, there's a lot in your line that qualify for that. And I think Ethan's probably having a Tabernacle right now. Looks like Grimes is only about halfway through his Havana Seed right there. The double Corona, so it's a big favorite of us here, and we're turning a lot of our smokers onto it, and it's been very successful. Wouldn't you say, Bill?
It's successful because it's very easy to say that Liga Privada was made by Nick, and we don't carry it, but here's what he has now, and they go, oh my God, that's pretty fucking good, and we're like, yeah, that's what we do.
I mean, the proof's always in the pudding, right?
Yep. And this ain't Hunts.
It's if you can get them to try it,
That's it.
They usually come back to it. I just hope we can make enough. I mean, the weather here in Connecticut has been really challenging. So it's interesting to see. you know,
What comes out?
This, what's that?
It's interesting to see what can come out of a yield.
Yeah, you know, this year, unfortunately, it wasn't any. We've been getting too much rain. So the past 5 years, you know, 3 years ago, 20% of the crop came out. You know, a lot of farmers plowed under their fields because they can get farmers insurance at one point. If they don't think the quality is going to be up to par, they can at least try to recoup, you know, some of the costs. Broadleaf on a good year is really challenging because if you look at the plant in the field, it looks more like what a filler plant would look like. It's shorter, it's stockier. You know, especially broadleaf, these leaves are gigantic. So the yields on a good year are difficult. And the past 5 years, we just can't catch a break. You know, the growing season goes from April, seed bed start, goes through September. So in August is usually the most challenging because we get a lot of potential hailstorms can come through. Sometimes we get micro tornadoes. You get a lot of humidity buildup. So you get a lot of thunderstorms. And so it's been a challenge. And then you're talking about the curing time, you know, is 2 years. The Havana seed takes almost 3 years in fermentation. So it's the planning of that is difficult. And then the brand has just been growing. You know, Tabernacle has just been growing. So it's been a challenge to figure out allocation, Bill.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
I hate
how that you're dealing with a limited number. It's similar to Liga when we started with Liga. I mean, it was very kind of limited because we were also dealing with yield challenges then also. But it's awesome to see the brand, you know, just be kind of grow. It's one of those brands that's been lightning in a bottle.
Good deal.
Yeah, and you spoke earlier about the Olmec, which is one that, as we saw in the store, just blew up. Both the Claro and the Maduro wrapper. I mean, it was just a huge success. And in that vein, without giving away too many secrets, we talked a little bit about PCA coming up. What's 2024 look like broadly for Foundation?
Would you say broadly or broadleaf?
Well, either one with you,
broadly?
But broadly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be really focusing on these new releases. You know, we just released Matapa, which is a new brand for us. So we just started, you know, shipping those last month. We started shipping the Charter Oak, which I did for my two grandfathers, or really the reason why I got into cigar smoking. They were both big time Connecticut. You know, we used to make a lot of cigars here in Connecticut, but they love Connecticut cigars. There was tons of Connecticut brands. So Charter Oak is really a brand for them. Even the core line Charter Oak, it was really my homage to Connecticut and is an everyday cigar that they would smoke. And then I just made a special Charter Oak called Pasquale, which is my father's father. That was his first name. And Pegnataro was my mom's father. That was his last name. And Pegnataro is Connecticut Shade. They're completely different blends than the core line Charter Oak. They're much more depth, complexity, richness. They use a lot more Vizos and Ligeros, upper priming tobaccos. So these are more like that special cigar that they would smoke, special occasion, weekend. So we just released those, and the Night Commander, of course, we released. And then we also did a special cigar. I don't know if you saw the Signature, which is our King Tut we did for King Tut's 100th year anniversary last year. We've replicated a box found within King Tut's tomb, which is pretty awesome. So we had a lot of demand for those to come back. So those are a yearly release. So we're going to stay focused, you know, just because of the timing of the trade show. It's, you know, it took so much time to get those brands all finished up. So it you know, being in March, there's not enough time to kind of do much new. So we're just going to really be focusing on what we just released.
Very good. And it
you might see something. You might see a little something.
There you go.
You might see a little something.
That's what we're looking for. Beautiful.
You might see a little change up here. I got a few tricks up my sleeve here.
Well, we look forward to it. As it is right now, it looks like it's going to be Wild Bill and the Kid. Is that right?
Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah,
the kid's
I like
first
that.
trade show.
He's
He's 23. He's a nerd.
Nice. Awesome.
He's gonna be. We're gonna
Yeah.
have a good time.
We need nerds.
Exactly. And just wait until he sees this and starts to ask you about the pipe. It's going to be he is a pipe fiend.
He's a pipe nerd.
Really?
Oh yeah. Took to it like a fish to water. So it's good to have in the shop. Ethan, do you have anything else before we go to my last little bit here?
No, man.
Wild
You
Bill?
go.
No, I want to get to a New York state of mind.
Just without
I got my pipe.
Collection.
This is one of my. I inherited my grandfather's 50 years worth of pipes collection. More than that, I think 60 years. So he was my grandfather pegged a tarot. He was a daily pipe. He always had the pipe in his mouth, and then he would usually smoke cigars at night, on the weekend. But the pipe was like always
every day.
He was known for his pipe. So I got some cool. Look at this one. This is like a little pocket pipe that turns that way, so you can just easy to transport, pack it up. So yeah, these are just a few of them. Just check this one out quick. This one I love. This one I got in Slovakia.
Nice.
In 2002, I was hiking in the mountains of Slovakia, and there was some dude selling freaking wood pipes on the side.
Gotta have it.
I don't know. That's for the special tobacco, though.
Yes. Yeah. That's the good stuff, as they say. Well, as you have on your IG profile, one of your on your bio is music is life, and we've talked a little bit about your love for reggae, and lots and lots of hip hop influences in there too. So we're gonna put your credentials to the test. We're gonna do a little lyric contest.
God.
Bill.
Oh God, you're hurting me.
He might have. Bill might have spoiled the first one. So
Shit.
Yeah, I'm going to do it in my best.
Don't do this to me.
Midwestern. Ready? Here we go. All I need. You can give me the artist or the title. They're going to be pretty simple. You ready?
Okay. I don't know about this. Okay.
Rappers, I money flip 'em with funky rhythm. I be kicking, musician inflicting, composition of pain. I'm like Scarface sniffing cocaine.
Holy shit.
I know it doesn't work with a white guy in his 50s doing that.
Think priest.
That's not. This is early 90s, isn't it?
It's going to be, maybe a little bit later than that. 90s, yep. New York, for sure. Brooklyn born. Oh, Bronx born, excuse me.
Oh, God, I'm bad. See, I have a very specific
genre.
Genre, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we won't embarrass you too much.
Yeah.
Nas.
Who is it?
Grimes, who's that?
Nas.
It's Nas, New York State of Mind.
Nas. I was going to say Nas, but Nas is not from. Isn't Nas from? Where's Nas from? It's not.
Thought it was the Bronx.
I don't think he's from the Bronx either. He's from Queensbridge.
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 See, look.
Yeah, Queensbridge.
Educated me right there. Okay.
Queensbridge. That kind of redeemed me a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So, all right, for this next one, there's only 4 of them, so you'll get this. We're going back a few years. I'll help you with that one. Ready? This one is easier. I made my debut in '86 with a melody and president's mix, and now I stay on target and refuse to miss, and I still make hits with beats.
Yeah, that's Eric B.
There you go.
Him,
See?
right?
Yeah. Nice. You got that one.
That's a classic.
Yeah, perfect. All right. We're staying on the East Coast. I didn't go Snoop or Dre on you or NWA. Ready? Second to last one.
Yeah.
I can fill you with real millionaire shit. Escargot, my cargo 160 swiftly.
Oh, come on.
I told you it was easy. All right. And then our personal favorite one is, you ready?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Valley of Kings, where we willing and able to rise like the burning fire, active volcanoes.
What? Wait, say it again?
Ready? Welcome to the Valley of Kings, where we willing and able to rise like the burning fire, active volcanoes.
Wait, is that Black Star?
No, it's a husband and wife.
He's fucking
Oh,
you.
my God. Jesus. Oh my God. And which is crazy because Black Star is one of my favorite albums of all time. Mos Def and Talib Kweli, and the Reminders reminded me of Black Star because they got kind of the same vibe. I saw them open up for Nas, and that's how our relationship started. Because they opened up and they just killed, and I was in awe by them. And we met, they were at the merch table after the show, and we just met, and just happened.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
I did a little research.
It's a great verse too. Their whole
You had
the whole song.
You had some moves in that video too.
Oh, come on. That was my Puff Daddy.
Y'all wouldn't say that too
much.
Puff Daddy getting himself in trouble.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that, but that was my best. It was my best Puff Daddy.
Yeah, a hell of a good time. If you don't know, that's the song Foundation, and it's on your website, and you used it for quite a bit of stuff. And shot the video a couple of days down in Nicaragua.
Yeah, so these guys, Asian and Samir, incredible people. They're like family. They sent me this song in May. They sent me the beat, and then they sent me like the first verse, and I heard it, and I said, we gotta shoot a music video for this. And it was leading up to the trade show 2019. So the timing, that was May when they sent it to me. By beginning of June, we were in Nicaragua. They flew in on a Monday. We shot Tuesday, Wednesday. They were out by Thursday because it was the only time that we could fit in our schedules. And it was edited in a week. And, I hadn't seen a hip-hop video that was filmed, in a cigar. So many hip-hop artists smoke cigars these days.
Yep.
So it was just one of those creative, fun, creative projects that just sort of happened. So it was a lot of fun. I'm hoping we shoot another video up in Connecticut, hopefully this summer, to do kind of like a follow-up.
That sounds great. We'll be looking forward to it. Ethan, you have anything else before we let Nick go? A 3 out of 4. That's not bad. We're going to give you credit for that one. 3 out of 4.
I don't know. It's weak.
Time to brush up.
No, I know he's pressed for time.
In 96, 97, that's when I started listening to reggae. And I'm very particular with my I'm like late 60s, early 70s.
No Junior Reid?
I'll get into, some later stuff here and there, but I love that like old school scratchy, heavy drum and bass. Even that early dub, it's just drum and bass and the reverb. And then, but I listened to Bob, Bob Marley, when I started listening to him. I must have listened to Bob straight for like 3 years. That was the only thing. I used to have this guy that used to come into the cigar shop that was a record collector. And, back then you couldn't get, it's amazing what you can get on YouTube and nowadays and on the internet. But he used to get from this Japanese label all these rare recordings of Bob and concerts. And it was like 3 years, just Marley, nonstop. People used to get annoyed. Don't you listen to anything else? But it was like Bob, just constant. All the time.
we can tell by the influence. We'll get into it. We'll have you back soon, and we'll talk about the upsetters and a bunch of other fun stuff as well. But we know you're pressed for time. Before we sign off, we do need to let you know that we reached out to the Reminders, and Samir sent a very nice email back and gave us blanket permission to use it for this podcast. So we're gonna.
That's awesome.
We're gonna.
He texted me at one point. Yeah, he's like, "Do you know these guys?" Yeah.
They're throwing your name around like they've actually met you.
Yeah.
I would have met you if you actually showed up to the shop.
I deserve it.
All right, everybody.
I deserve it.
Thank you very much, Nick. We look forward to next time we can touch base. Make sure you grab all of your Foundation cigars here at the Humidor. That's going to do it for episode number 43 of the Blow and Smoke podcast. Nick Melillo from Foundation Cigars. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share. All those buttons are down at the bottom there. Big shout out to Ethan behind the board, mixing and mastering. The shop boss over here, Grimes, hanging out. It's rare that he does one. He was really excited about doing this one. And of course,
Thanks, brother.
The big boss, Mr. Wild Bill. I am Eye Candy Randy. Nick, thanks very much. We will talk to you soon.
Guys, pleasure. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest.